Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here for another video on my channel. Today I will be showing you guys my process for creating the second piece in my own series, kind of exploring my journey to better grounding and better discernment. If you haven't seen the first video in the series, the first painting, I would suggest scrolling back on my channel and watching that first, but if you've seen it, then yeah, just sit back and get ready to learn about the second part of, or the second stage, I'll say, in my discernment journey. So the second stage is very much like getting your feet in the ground and actually noticing the difference and practicing that skill of discernment and of grounding. And when you start, it actually, I notice, can feel a little, I don't want to say paranoid, but suddenly it can be a bit jarring or shocking to be aware of things that you weren't before, about yourself, maybe about other people, situations. And in general, when you're interacting with new people and in new spaces, it feels a bit like being on edge at first. By being on edge, I don't mean ungrounded and paranoid, because it's obviously the opposite of what you want when you are trying to ground, but it's more that I'm not used to being as critical or as aware of other people and new situations than I am now that I'm on this journey and that I've been on it for a few months. So I really wanted to represent a bit of that paranoid vibe, sort of. I wish I had another word other than paranoid, but I wanted this piece to look a little more horror-esque, to have, I don't know, a kind of enlightened paranoia about it, which you will see develop better as the painting continues. But I definitely wanted a central figure that at first I wanted this figure to look more like me, but that does change as we go through it, and it becomes its own creature even. I saw a meme the other day that was basically, the text was how it feels to know things, and it was a photo of some person or being or something in anguish. And I feel like that kind of inspired what I'm going for in this piece. I definitely wanted to show a central figure, and I wanted to show in their eyes are wide and aware, and a bit nervous even from what they know and what they're aware of that maybe they'd rather not be aware of, but alas. So that it looks like there was wrapping, some kind of medical wrapping all over their mouth, to kind of add to the more horror-esque-ness of the piece, because it's also October and we like that. But also just to show that when you're working on discernment and stuff, part of that is knowing what to say and knowing when to hold back. Maybe you might notice something about someone and be like, oh shit, this is not a good vibe and I don't want to be around that. But you can't necessarily, it's not necessarily fair or just or right to then talk about it, go around, say things, and discernment is also, even if it's not about other people, even if it's just about yourself, your own thoughts, your own feelings. I am somebody who really likes to talk and potentially overshare, so for me, this discernment was very much knowing a lot of things, having a lot of things I want to talk about, being aware of a lot of good and bad things that I really want to talk about, and then having to choose who or when or where I carefully decide to, I guess, expose that information. It is not always the right choice to in the name of authenticity, say everything that's on your brain. Because definitely, yes, be authentic, don't lie, don't be a different person group to group if you can avoid it, with your own safety and stuff. If you can avoid it, absolutely do. However, that doesn't mean saying everything that pops into your head out loud, which is part of the discernment. Even if you're not saying anything wrong, it might still be harmful depending on how you go about it. So I definitely wanted to show that in this piece by having this figure having a covered up mouth, but a really aware expression regardless. For this piece, I struggled quite a lot with the hair, actually. As I was trying to decide what to do and what colors would look the best. And I know I wanted parts of it to really pop and really be, I don't know if bright is the right word, but really pop. Be kind of like, I wanted there to be a lot of contrast. And I just couldn't figure out the hair at first because I wanted it to be kind of reminiscent to what my hair will look like once I cut it. But it just didn't feel right, didn't look right. Also didn't really work with the black background, and I usually really enjoy having colorful pieces with a dark background so that they really like pop and really catch your attention. So here I'm just trying to figure out what the hell to do, basically with the eyes and with the hair, so we'll see how that turns out. At this point, I knew I wanted to somehow add some kind of spiritual element to this piece, and not just have it be kind of like horror-esque, if you can even call it that. I just really wanted something to show like spiritual connection as well, like I did in my first piece. In my first piece in the series, if you remember, I made sure the central figure had a kind of headdress that was really grand, and really large, really grand, to kind of showcase that crown chakra energy and power and that connection. And I wanted to do that again here. So eventually you'll see what I figured out. I also, this piece, wanted to kind of experiment with my style a bit more, and instead of having either like a woman's body, or a very clean face, I should say. Clean being, I have all the features there to see, and the skin is blended well, kind of thing. I really wanted to experiment with different textures, and colors, which you will see in the final product. Especially with the skin below the head, I did a lot of experimentation and crisscrossing to try and make like an interesting texture to it that I hadn't really done before. So here you can see me trying to experiment with some kind of orb in the background. I wanted something to show, again, like that crown chakra energy, and I was kind of inspired by, I think it was old medieval paintings of Christ and other saints. They always had some kind of golden disc or halo around their heads, usually in the back, like a bright circle around their head, to show their connection to the divine, their holiness. And I thought that would be like a fun little reference to throw into this more like unsettling kind of piece. because the point is that you're still supported in this journey. It's just that not every journey is going to feel great immediately, and it is a little it is a little jarring to know things and not be able to say them. And or know things you might not want to know. Maybe you want to think somebody is a good person or a good friend, but maybe they're not. Maybe you want to think you were right in a situation that you're very passionate about, but maybe you weren't. And and regardless, I wanted something in the background, some kind of reference to the divine to be there, kind of showing that regardless, support is there. However, I will say that while I am filling in the background, I do flip-flop a bit about what I'm doing. I I try different colors and different brightnesses to see what works the best with my central figure. But the truth is, I was looking at it and I was feeling, it actually does look a lot better, I'm pretty sure, with that black background making it pop. And I wasn't really sure how I felt about like the white halo I had in the back. That being said, I knew it was important to have something, so you'll see me kind of like flip-flop, trying to see what works the best. Eventually, as you'll see, I did settle on kind of covering up that white circle I had made initially with some black, creating like a hazy gray kind of shadow, or aura I should say, around the figure's head. And then I decided to have the rays of enlightenment, of divine connection, actually coming off of the figure. I thought this worked a lot better personally, just because I like to show that the connection is now coming from within as well. And just I'll keep a bit of that shadow as well, just to kind of show, I guess, a bit more of like an aura. And I just thought the rays coming off of the figure were great because they showed like the same sun-like energy that I had in my first piece, but with an entirely different composition and a different mood. I liked how the red popped with the black in the background and the cool tones and colors of the face and some of the skin. I felt like it worked really well overall, and I'm actually really happy with this piece. I like how the rays also are a bit spiky, so they kind of give the impression of warding things away, which is important to me because that's also part of discernment. What I'm learning is that some things you want to keep away, and discernment really helps you only allow in what is for your highest good and isn't going to slow you down. But yeah, that is my piece. I will attach a photo of it at the end of this video so you can see it in all of its glory in better lighting. And yeah, no, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and I hope to see you in the next video.